So hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 89 of our F1 Manager 22 save. Now this is the third from last episode on this series. We're of course going to be carrying on F1 Manager 23, but as we look to fight for this constructor title, let's bring you up to speed with what happened last time out. And it was a disappointing Grand Prix at the Circuit of the Americas. Lando Norris finishing fifth. We had some bad luck with a safety car, but we had a cracking podium of Esteban Ocon, Kevin Magnussen and Sergio Perez, the top three. It was really nice to see some different names up there. The two Red Bull guys, 7th and 8th. Mick Schumacher didn't finish, crashing out again. Very, very disappointing for him. But what it must be said is, due to the finances and the cost cap, unlike Christian Horner, we're a little bit bothered about this, so we cannot afford to replace Mick Schumacher for the last few Grand Prix of the season. So Mick Schumacher has got to do the business, and the business is this. We have a 19-point gap on second place Red Bull. That is what we must keep in this last three races to win the Constructors. As we saw last time out, Lando Norris has got it in the bag. He has won the Drivers' Championship. He is a world champion, which is fantastic for us. He's our first Drivers' World Champion on this game in our last season, and bringing it back to Maranello even was very, very special. This weekend we head to Mexico. It's a great circuit. There's 71 laps round here. Last time out, Max Verstappen won it. We'll be hoping that he doesn't do that again this time out. Car attributes, low and high speed cornering here, very important. And the expected strategy is a one-stop from medium on to hard. The two-stop may also be an option as well. So I'm going to get through practice and I'll see you in qualifying for the Mexican Grand Prix.
Hello and thank you for joining us as our race weekend unfolds. Free practice has concluded and qualifying awaits. For those teams who made the most of free practice, they'll be heading into qualifying full of confidence, knowing that they can carry today's momentum into the upcoming session. Does practice make perfect? Well, for one standout driver, it will make for pole. Stay with us as we see who can deliver on motorsport's biggest stage.
Desperate news in Q1 in Mexico. The rain didn't help, but Mick Schumacher was only quick enough for P19. Desperate situation again for Mick Schumacher. We'll focus on Lando, but he will be taking an engine penalty as well, Mick. We may as well. But that is so disappointing. So on to Lando now. Here we are then, final lap in Q3. Lando Norris flying the flag for Ferrari again. It must be said Red Bull have got the better driver pairing, but we've got the best driver as an individual at this moment, and that driver is Lando Norris. He's on provisional pole, and to be fair, he doesn't even need to finish this lap because Lando Norris has got pole position here in Mexico by 100th of a second from Charles Leclerc. What a performance from Lando Norris, doing what his teammate cannot do. We have got one driver at the front and one driver at the back, and Charles Leclerc looks like he's taking a grid penalty this weekend. Interesting there. Mick Schumacher will be starting at the back, and we're going to have a look at a different engine for Mick Schumacher as well. So let's have a look how this all plays out on the strategies. Right guys, we're going to try something a little different here. So Lando Norris is going to be starting on the standard one stop. He's going to be on the mediums, then onto the hards. I'm pretty comfortable with that. There's quite a bit of a chance for a safety car around here as well, so I'm pretty happy with that decision. And he's obviously on pole, so there's less to worry about. We do have the flexibility to move on to the two-stop should need be. Now, we're going to try something really different with Mick Schumacher. He's taking a full new set of engine components again. But Mick Schumacher will be starting on the soft, then going on to another set of softs, then onto the mediums at the end. My plan is to get the softs straight away, then undercut heavily on the soft compound again, then go on to the medium. That's the plan. Apparently, it is 16 seconds quicker than the one stop, although I would bet you that he isn't 16 seconds quicker than Lando Norris by the end of this race. So there we go. One at the front, one at the back. Let's get to 5 red lights for what's going to be an interesting Mexican Grand Prix.
And it's lights out and away we go.
And away we go, and straight away we are looking at Lando Norris, and Max Verstappen looks like he's jumped him off the line. We'll ride on board with Lando, but Max Verstappen looking particularly quick off the line, and he has got the inside line as well into turn one. Let's have a look, see if there's any incidents here. Lando Norris round the outside, side by side with Max Verstappen, doing his absolute utmost to keep up with the Dutchman, and it is still side by side as we head through sector 1 here, neck and neck on the pace. If anything, Lando Norris looks like he's just got a little bit extra as he's got the inside line for this corner, and then that will turn to the inside for Max Verstappen. Danny Ricciardo watching this quite eagerly behind. We will have a little look while this battle's going on at Mick Schumacher overtaking Pierre Gasly, because Schumacher on the soft compound tyre overtakes Gasly. Beautiful work from him. He's got to make hay while the sun shines on these soft compound tyres. But back to Lando Norris, who has lost the lead of the Grand Prix from Max Verstappen, so that may open up the 2-stop for Lando Norris. It was only a 5-place grid penalty for Charles Leclerc, so that's a little interesting one there. He's down in P6, so it's Verstappen from Norris. Then comes Danny Ricciardo in the McLaren. Magnussen again in that Audi. Kevin Magnussen has been absolutely fantastic. If I was doing another season on this game, Kevin Magnussen would be my driver next year alongside Lando Norris. Sergio Perez down in P5, Leclerc P6, Bottas in P7, then comes Alexander Albon in that Audi, Lance Stroll in the Nissan in P9, before the Lotus Renault of Zhou Guanyu in P10. Mick Schumacher trying to work hard at the start of this Grand Prix. Norris is pushing flat out, says Javi, but what must be said is we're pushing, but we are not wearing out the tyres. Lando Norris got the DRS on Max Verstappen. These two are going to be exchanging places all afternoon, I would imagine, but Lando Norris on light tyre saving mode reclaims the lead of the Grand Prix. Coming on to lap 6, Lando Norris is then being overtaken by Max Verstappen. This is where it's going to be for most of this Grand Prix. Danny Ricciardo's having a look at Lando Norris there on the inside. Will he manage to overtake Lando Norris? He certainly won't, as Lando Norris now, I would suggest, doesn't get DRS again, and Danny Ricciardo does. It's going to mean that Lando Norris drops down to P3 unless he can fight the McLaren of Danny Ricciardo. He keeps his nose in there, putting Danny Ricciardo off a little bit. Norris not happy on the radio at this moment in time, but we are pretty comfortable with this. This isn't a problem for us. We are playing the long game with Lando Norris. Meanwhile, at the back, Mick Schumacher is not making any progress. It's quite disappointing at the moment. I'm assuming Gasly's got an issue. He's 1.3 seconds back, Pierre Gasly. I'm not quite sure what's happening with him. Remember, Pierre Gasly, one of our other favourite drivers on this game. He's been absolutely fantastic for us, Pierre, in previous seasons. It's a shame to see him really struggling at the back in that Aston Martin. Can we have a look at what's going wrong with Pierre Gasly? Let's have a little look at this Gasly. If we have a look at, he's got a decent-ish engine in. It's 54%. It's a little bit worn, but Lando Norris doing well. Pierre Gasly really struggling, cannot keep pace with Mick Schumacher. Lap 6. You join us back on lap 11, where Lando Norris and Danny Ricciardo, they've pulled out a nice gap towards Kevin Magnussen. Magnussen's under control. Max Verstappen, he's defending very well. Ricciardo, Norris just tagging on behind him. We've just told him to come off the tyre saving a little bit, just to try and make a couple of moves at this moment in time, because we've been watching these guys going around in formation, and the same can be said really for the rest of the field as well. If we have a little look at this, we've both got DRS on Max Verstappen here, but he's managing to stay in front in that Red Bull. We are considering swapping even to the 2-stop strategy with Lando Norris. Kevin Magnussen in P4, Perez P5. It's pretty much as you were. Leclerc P6, Bottas 7, Stroll 8, Albon in 9, and then Guanyu Zhou in P10. Mick Schumacher is not making any progress whatsoever. We are really going to be switching him onto these soft compound tyres a little bit earlier and try and get him out into some clean air, because that is really the only way I see him doing anything in this Grand Prix. Lap 12. We have got a safety car on lap 15, and immediately we have picked Mick Schumacher. We'll just have a little look at the crash, because this could be very important. We've got the Maserati Haas there, soft compound tyres on the right. We've got the medium on the left. Let's have a look what happens here. And to be fair, Gunther Steiner is going to be absolutely fuming. The two Haas cars colliding there. Some pixelated crowd members. Yeah. I mean, that is a sorry sight for the Haas team. Really is. But Mick Schumacher's in. We've chose this time. We're going to get him in. We are going to get Lando Norris in as well. Lando Norris is going to come in onto the 2-stop now. But in comes Mick Schumacher, exiting the pit lane now. So that's going to be fine for him. Lando Norris will be coming in, and we'll come back when he's... is he coming from the stadium section now? No, he's got a little bit longer to go. So when he comes round for his pit stop, we'll see Lando Norris as well. Lap 15. I'm going to be very intrigued here if anyone else comes in. Let's have a look. As they come round the final corner, Verstappen, Ricciardo, are they going to pit? It's too early for the 1-stop. It's too early for the hards. But I reckon if we can get in now, which we do, no one else pits, We are going to come out around P12, but people are going to be pitting a few laps later on, so I reckon this gives us a massive opportunity here. Let's have a look how this plays out. Lando Norris into the pit lane. Where is Lance Stroll coming down? I reckon we're going to lose a few positions here, but I think this could be a worthwhile strategy call. It's just where he comes out. We're looking at Maloney coming around the final corner. If Lando Norris can get out around here, I'd be pretty happy with that. Where is Maloney coming down the start finish straight? Lando's going to slot out in P11. Mick Schumacher at the back of the pack, but now got a free pit stop. It's a bold call from me and the Ferrari strategist. Let's see if it pays off. We'll come back when we're back to green flag running. Safety car is coming in. It is going to be Max Verstappen to lead us away. Lando's down in P11. Mick Schumacher down in P18. This is going to be a really, really interesting one now towards the end. We're going to ride on board with Daniel Ricciardo as Max Verstappen weaving left to right. When will Max Verstappen go? He goes just out of the final corner. Daniel Ricciardo gets a decent run, to be fair. Lando Norris is on the back of Yuki Tsunoda, and he's going to be told to overtake and try and clear a couple of these cars early doors. Mick Schumacher, we're going to play a bit of a longer game with him. He's got the pace. We don't need to worry about that. These guys, it's got to take an extra pit stop now. I'm hoping Lando, we're going to chuck one up the inside of the Williams there. He's decided not to. He's still looking left and right, but I'm expecting these guys, and especially the soft compound tyre runners, very, very soon. As Lando Norris was still riding on board, as he looks like he's going to go up the inside of the Williams. He certainly isn't. Yuki Tsunoda making life difficult at the moment. So on the restart, we can see it is Max Verstappen from Danny Ricciardo. Then comes Kevin Magnussen in P3, Perez P4, Leclerc P5, Stroll, Bottas, Albon Joe, and Yuki Tsunoda. Lando Norris in P11. But remember, both Ferraris already had a pit stop. We've got a huge moment in this race because Max Verstappen is into the pits and he's doing the one stop. He's on the hard compounded tyre. Max Verstappen is going to come out behind Mick Schumacher. Lando Norris is currently fighting with, I believe that's Alexander Albon, and he's managed to get past him. He's now got Lance Stroll in front of him, but these guys are already coming into the pits. And if we have a look at the interval gaps now, Lando Norris, he's only 5 seconds off the lead. Max Verstappen 7 seconds behind Bottas. Mick Schumacher also in front of Verstappen. Have we played an absolute blinder with this strategy? We're going to find out, but Lando Norris could do with clearing this Nissan of Lance Stroll very, very quickly. We'll ride on board with Lando Norris. I'm hoping he can get him in this next DRS straight. Let's have a look what happens here. Through these weaving left and right-handers, will he get him on the DRS straight? Because he's seriously holding up Lando here. Lando pushing on the fuel a little bit now. He's going to get DRS. Will he manage to get this move done round the outside? He covers him off, Lance Stroll. It's good defence from the Canadian, the ex-Aston Martin driver. As we come through the stadium section, Lando Norris will be hoping, I'd imagine, that Lance Stroll is going to get out of his way. The tyres are overheating a little bit. We're just going to come off the fuel a little bit for both cars. Is Lance Stroll going to pit this lap? He isn't, but Lando Norris now really should manage to get the job done here. He's got to get past him. Lance Stroll's defending very well, but he's not going to manage to defend that as Sergio Perez now comes into the box and gets a massive hold. A huge hold for Sergio Perez. It's an absolute disaster for the Aston Martin driver. Mick Schumacher now up into P11, and still all the cars in front of him, except for Lando Norris, have got to pit. There could be a point where we are running 1-2 in this Grand Prix, but Mick Schumacher has got to keep pushing at this moment in time. Lando Norris now up into P4, has negotiated his way past Stroll, and he's got Magnussen and Leclerc up next, lap 22. Fastest car on track is Lando Norris on lap 23, and we've got more cars pitting. Stroll, Tsunoda, Russell all in. Mick Schumacher still holding on to the back of Esteban Ocon, and I believe he's got the pace to get past Esteban Ocon. Lando Norris now is on the back of Charles Leclerc. He's got DRS again. If we have a look at the last lap times, it was a 1:19.4 for Lando Norris and a 1:21.3 for Mick Schumacher. If that doesn't show the difference between the two drivers, I don't really know what does. We're just watching Mick Schumacher as he's going round, just not managing to make the moves required to make this work. Lap 23. And unbelievably, Lando Norris has spun. We're very critical of Mick Schumacher, but Lando's spun. It's heading hands moments in the Ferrari garage now. How much time has he actually lost there? It's a yellow in Sector 1. He's still running P3. He's not actually lost that much time there, Lando Norris. So he's lost a bit of his tyre wear. but it's not cost him that much time. He must have got it going very, very quickly once again. He's now 3.7 seconds, the gap to Charles Leclerc. Meanwhile, Mick Schumacher still on the back of Esteban Ocon, and we are now going to tell him to use a bit of overtake. I am sick of sat behind this Lotus Renault, so let's have a look to see if he can do it here. He's looking down the outside. Is he going to make a move? He isn't. He's blocked off the two guys in front of him, fighting exceptionally hard, Ocon and Sainz. As we go through the stadium section, we've got the double right-handers here. Will these two cars pit in front of Mick Schumacher? Let's have a look. This lap, we can see both cars. Is any of them going to go into the pit lane? They aren't. They're keeping going, and Mick Schumacher really could do in getting around the outside of one of these cars. He's looking left and right and just can't seem to pick a position to get past. Let's have a look. Will he get past them down into turn one? Carlos Sainz has passed Ocon, so is Mick Schumacher, and then he's going to get another helping of DRS on this next straight. Let's have a look what happens here. Can Mick Schumacher negotiate Carlos Sainz? He's using all the DRS. Sainz cuts across very aggressively, and even using the DRS, is he going to manage to get this job done? As we switch back to the TV view, Sainz still defending particularly well. Mick Schumacher making very, very hard work of this, but it's good hard racing between the two drivers, between the Spaniard and the German Mick Schumacher, and he does manage to get into P6. That's good work from Mick Schumacher. This garage has just gone mental, says Bono, probably because he managed to keep it on the track. Lando Norris still got some work to do, but is now pushing once again to catch up to Charles Leclerc, lap 25. Is Mick Schumacher cooking up a performance here in Mexico? He's now passed Kevin Magnussen. It's great work from him. And Mick Schumacher is up into P4. Crucially, gap to Verstappen. If we have a look at this, the gap to Verstappen, it's around 22 seconds for a pit stop under green flag running. I'd say the gap is about 16 seconds from Verstappen to Norris. Obviously, we'll be going on to fresh tyres at the end. Mick Schumacher has got about 10 seconds in hand. It'll be very, very interesting to see. If Verstappen stops again, I would suggest Leclerc and Ricciardo are going on a very long one-stop at this moment in time, lap 27. And on lap 28, we've got a lot more cars in. Albon's in, Ocon's in, Sainz is in, Bottas is in. Max Verstappen's now up to P4. Leclerc is the only remaining runner that has not pit yet. He's got to be coming in the next lap. Mick Schumacher and Lando Norris will then be running 1-2. But remember, both cars have got to make another pit stop. So something to be aware of there. But we are going to be looking at, let's just have a little look at this battle. Will Lando Norris manage to get him through this next section? We're going to give him the overtake as well. He's going to get DRS. He's going to get ERS. Will he manage to get past him? It doesn't look like he will. He's looking left and right. These Red Bulls can be the size of a bloody London bus at times. It's very, very frustrating to see. But Lando Norris now, just having a little look. I'm assuming Charles Leclerc is going to be in this lap. Let's see if that is the case. Charles Leclerc does come in this lap. Lando Norris now takes the lead of the Grand Prix. It's a 1-2 for Ferrari, but let me just bring you in to the strategy screen because this is very, very important. We're looking now, lap 41 for Lando Norris to go onto the hard compound tyre. Mick Schumacher will be going on to another set of mediums, so we are going to be on different strategies towards the end. Will this hard compound tyre hold up? We will have to see. Lap 29. 34, we've got a crash on circuit and it's Esteban Ocon. Let's have a little look at what's happened here. I think he's probably just going to lock up. He has locked up that front right. It wasn't as bad as it possibly could have been even. Managed to get the car stopped. The interesting thing here is we are just watching this gap on the left-hand side between Verstappen and Mick Schumacher for Lando Norris's pit stop. It's 22 seconds gap to Leclerc, but we will be on a lot fresher tyres if we pit around lap 41. So at the moment, it's all about, can we get out in front of Charles Leclerc, who's on the hard compound tyre and going towards the end. So that's something we're keeping an eye on at this moment. The other thing is Mick Schumacher. He's going to be going on to the mediums at the end. I think he's going to be very, very quick towards the end of this race, Mick Schumacher. So something else to look out for. But I'm just watching this gap at the moment. This is where all my attention is, on the left-hand side. Lap 34, full rundown. It's Norris from Schumacher, Verstappen, Ricciardo, Leclerc in P5, Stroll P6 in the Nissan, Perez P7 in the McLaren. Then comes Magnussen, Russell and Alexander Albon, both Audis running in the points. Lando Norris is in, lap 40. We've pulled the trigger. We're going in for the hard compound tyre. There's a nice gap for Lando Norris to get out of there. So that's the first bit of thinking. Then I reckon we are going to have the much fresher tyres towards the end of this race. So very, very excited about this for Lando Norris. Let's have a look. Where is Charles Leclerc? Charles Leclerc's coming around the final corner. Will Lando Norris manage to get out in front of him? I don't believe he will. Those guys have gone past him. Lando Norris is going to come out, but hopefully he's going to be on this DRS, which is not something that I expected, to be fair. So Lando Norris, decent pit stop there. Mick Schumacher now takes the lead of the Grand Prix. He's got to stop again, but he's going to be stopping again in a few more laps. And the idea is now to get him out in front of sort of Kevin Magnussen. That would be ideal. If we can do that with Mick Schumacher, I would be very, very happy. Lap 40, lap 43, as planned. Mick Schumacher is into the pit lane. Max Verstappen now takes the lead of the Grand Prix. But Mick Schumacher, this will be a really, really good comeback performance from him after the disappointment on Saturday in qualifying. Let's have a look. He's onto a set of medium tyres. He's going to be quick towards the end. I'm trying to get him out in front of Magnussen and Russell if we possibly can. Mick Schumacher coming down the pit lane. Stroll's there. Perez, he's not going to come out in front of Perez, but I think he may come out in front of Stroll. Let's have a little look at how things work out here. Mick Schumacher, he's not. He's dropped behind Stroll and he hasn't. He's in front of Lance Stroll, just behind Checo Perez. That has not been a bad pit stop for Mick Schumacher. Now running P6, and he's got these tyres towards the end. And remember, the quicker tyre towards the end. Will we see any of the guys in front pit? That'll be very interesting, because if they do, we've got this in the bag. Lap 44.
Okay.
Is Mick Schumacher coming alive or what? He's just overtaken Sergio Perez. Medium compound tyre against hard. And the DRS as well helped him on his way. Mick Schumacher getting the job done before getting into the braking zone. Great work from him. He's now up into P5, so it's 4th and 5th for the two Ferrari drivers. What Mick Schumacher could really do with doing now is dropping these cars behind him. If he can do that, I think we're in with a very good chance of him securing that today. Meanwhile, Lando Norris is on the back of the front three now, and he's on the fresher tyre by some distance. I would expect Lando Norris to get past a couple of these cars, and then we really are cooking on gas. Lap 47. Huge moment in this Grand Prix. Max Verstappen has pit again. He's down to P7. But he's onto a fresh set of medium compound tyres, so Verstappen also on the 2-stop. Mick Schumacher has just been told to break the DRS of Sergio Perez, and for once Mick Schumacher is doing what we want him to do. He's broke the DRS of Sergio Perez. Great work from him. I think we can set a tar to them now. Now it's all on. I think Leclerc and Ricciardo are going to the end, so that now it's up to Lando Norris to beat these two cars on much fresher hard compound tyres, and he's already saving tyres, Lando Norris. He's going to be very much there or thereabouts towards the end of this Grand Prix. Mick Schumacher, this could be a massive result for the team if he can secure P4, lap 49. And just a little caveat, Mick Schumacher has fastest lap of the Grand Prix, a 1:18.8. And on lap 50, Sergio Perez is in again, as is Guan Yu Zhou, Pierre Gasly, Jose Maloney and Logan Sargent. So a lot of cars pitting again. Will Ricciardo and Leclerc? That is the big question here this afternoon. Schumacher now has got a nice little bit of a gap. We're just going to harvest on the ERS a little bit as well. Magnussen's hard compound tyres, he shouldn't be able to get anywhere near Mick Schumacher at this moment in time. Leclerc, though, under significant pressure from Ricciardo, while Lando Norris is just cruising at the back. Lap 50. Mick Schumacher will not be liking this sight in his wing mirrors. He has now got Max Verstappen, a charging Max Verstappen, right behind him, and he is within DRS. Max Verstappen absolutely flying at this moment in time. I don't think he's going to catch up with the lead drivers, but Schumacher has got to do his utmost here to hold off Max Verstappen and just delay him. Lando Norris still at the front, still having a look at these cars. I'm hoping to get him in front of one of these two in the next couple of laps. Lap 52, it's going to be spicy all the way to the end. And it took Max Verstappen all of 2 laps to get past Mick Schumacher. That DRS on that Red Bull, incredibly powerful, and he's passed the young German driver. Disappointing for Mick, but if he can hang on to onto Verstappen now, this could be very beneficial for us. But so we're just keeping an eye on the gap between Verstappen and Norris. Meanwhile, Lando's still trying to get past these 2 cars in front, and we are going to have to use a bit of ERS and intervene. But Mick Schumacher is already losing time to Max Verstappen. Let's have a look. Will he manage to stay in the DRS? That's the key point in this now. He's got to stay in the DRS of Max Verstappen, because if he can do that, he will keep up with him, and he may even drag him closer and will try and jump him on the last couple of laps. But you can see how powerful that DRS is as Mick Schumacher closes right up to Max Verstappen into the stadium section. Lando Norris still having a look at these two. We are going to tell him now to just have a little bit of a push on the ERS as well. Meanwhile, Mick Schumacher, let's have a look. See how close he is coming out of the stadium section down this start-finish straight. And remember, that double dose of DRS is very, very important for Mick Schumacher now. He stays in the DRS of Max Verstappen. It's going to be a good afternoon for Mick Schumacher, who looks to go to the inside of Verstappen. Doesn't quite manage it. Verstappen defending very well, lap 54. And on lap 55, Lando Norris finally got the job done. He got past Charles Leclerc, got past the Red Bull. It was an aggressive move over by Charles Leclerc, which we weren't overly happy with. But Lando Norris managed to negotiate that Red Bull. And as he came out of the stadium section, he had only got one man in front of him. And that man is Danny Ricciardo in the McLaren. It's looking very positive for us now. And Lando Norris, this might be the chance for Lando Norris. If he can get past Danny Ricciardo here, this may be the chance for Lando Norris to absolutely bolt away here, and we are going to try it. We're going to try and push on the ERS and hope that Lando Norris can pull away from these two cars. We'll see how that plays out. Meanwhile, Mick Schumacher doing a splendid job of hanging onto the back of Max Verstappen. Mick Schumacher is giving it absolutely everything against Max Verstappen, and he's got DRS down this start-finish straight. It's a ding-dong battle between these two, and if Schumacher can beat Verstappen today, it would go a long way to rectifying a lot of the problems that he's caused Ferrari so far this season. Mick Schumacher currently running now in P4. He's just battling away with Max Verstappen. Verstappen's got the tyre advantage, but Mick Schumacher at this moment in time seems to be doing enough to just hold off Max Verstappen. It's working well for him. Meanwhile, Lando Norris, he's broke the DRS of these two cars behind him. Those tyres are dying. Lando Norris certainly aren't at this moment in time. Lap 61, looking promising for Lando. Schumacher being supreme. Last lap of the Grand Prix. Lando Norris is in control. 5.4 seconds gap to Leclerc. He's going to be able to cruise round. One man who isn't is Mick Schumacher, who's going to have to do everything he possibly can to overtake Max Verstappen in which could be crucial points in the constructors standings. And Mick Schumacher is going for the move into turn one. Verstappen covers him off. Can he make it work here? Verstappen's got 10% better tyres than Mick, but we've got some ERS to use, and we're going to push on the fuel. Will Mick Schumacher be able to get a move done here? It could be absolutely crucial in this very tight constructors battle in our final season here on F1 Manager 22. He's looking left and right once again. He's going to get one more chance down this next DRS straight. It's going to be a massive, massive moment if he can do it. He's looking left and right. We're going to tell him aggressive on absolutely everything. Mick Schumacher has let us down so many times this season. I can't even tell you. Will he be able to produce some magic in Mexico from Mick? Mick Schumacher down the inside of Max Verstappen. Will he get this done? As we switch to the TV view, it looks like Mick Schumacher is going to battle him all the way to the line. He's going to have the inside line coming out of the final corner. Mick Schumacher, it's neck and neck between Schumacher and Verstappen, and Mick Schumacher gets P4. What a performance from Mick Schumacher, the man who finished 20th in qualifying on Saturday. He had a disastrous qualifying. Lando Norris wins, but Mick Schumacher has really had some redemption there this afternoon. What a performance in Mexico.
Lando Norris can be proud. What a fantastic performance from him. This podium is a remarkable achievement for the whole team. And after such a fabulous drive here today, it's no surprise to see this man land on the podium.
Well, we've got to say, ladies and gentlemen, what a performance that has been from our guys. Lando Norris started on pole position, finished in P1. We got the safety car call. Strategy absolutely spot on. 6 seconds the gap to Charles Leclerc, who finished in P2. Had a good recovery drive himself, gaining 5 positions. Danny Ricciardo in the McLaren. Danny Ricciardo on the podium. Lovely to see. Mick Schumacher gaining 16 positions. We got that strategy bang on with the safety car. Max Verstappen P5, Magnussen P6, Sainz P7, Stroll P8, Albon, and then Russell finishes the points paying position. Sergio Perez will be disappointed not to be in the top 10. Driver standings wise, not that it's worth looking at because we know Lando Norris is world champion, but Charles Leclerc is still leading the Red Bull fight from Max Verstappen. Mick Schumacher gains 12 points. He's now 6 points behind Danny Ricciardo. Constructors standings, this is where it all matters. We are now, 28 points in front of Red Bull. We extend our lead by 9 points this race. It's going to be really, really crucial. We have got 2 races to go, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope you can join us for both of them. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Ta-ra!